Hello, YouTube. I hope you're all doing well on this Friday afternoon. I'm hanging in here. I'm trying to stay positive. With all so much negative in this world. But I've been telling a few stories of my life, and I thought about one. I thought about, sharing it with you. You know how everybody has there used to be a show on called Seinfeld, and it was a character on that called Kramer. We had Kramer type moments. I always have Kramer type moments, and maybe you do too. Well, some years ago, my wife and I, we went to this church called Grace Community Christian Church. It was a South suburban church out here, and where we stayed at. It was like a little country church. It was a small church, and everybody, it wasn't a large congregation, just small, just a few members.
It was a lot of members, but it was like family.
Nice members, but we were all like family, nothing but love. And we were going there for a while, and eventually the head deacon had went to the pastor, and they got to talking, and somehow something about myself, I don't know what, but impressed upon and asked the pastor about me becoming a deacon at this particular church. And eventually they approached me and asked me. And then that was a hard thing for me to kind of swallow, me talking about becoming a deacon and whatnot, because I knew all the responsibilities.
Amen.
But I said I would do it to help the church, because they needed people there to kind of help out. And but I said I'm just going there as a supportive role. I ain't no leader or nothing. I'm learning in this. So eventually I became a deacon there. And eventually the pastor every now and then thought about the idea of all the deacons wearing a white suit. I didn't have a white suit, but the head deacon had a small business which he sold nice suits, really nice suits, really. And he happened to give me this nice suit, white suit. It was beautiful looking. He just gave it to me, and I took it. So a little while later, there was a church function going on, a fashion show and a dinner. It was something really fancy. And a couple of churches had put it together, a couple of members and another one of the deacons and his wife, they were a part of it. And Cheryl and I, we attended with our kids, and we went there. And it was a nice affair. There was a lot of people there. And when we got there, and I actually was wearing that white suit that the deacon had given me. So as we got there, we were sitting for a while. All of a sudden, the head deacon came walking up to me with a pained look on his face, and he said, Deacon Ford, I hate to disturb you, but I'm in a situation. I hope you can help me. He said, the model who was coming to demonstrate my outfits, because, like I said, he had a clothing store, suit clothes, and he was going to have his suits was going to be part of the fashion show, that he had models to come out to show his outfits. And the model hadn't showed up, or couldn't show up, or wasn't going to come there. And he came to me. And he thought the suits, I guess the person was about my size and whatnot. And he asked me if I would model for him that day. Now, I sat there and I thought, and I said, I'm wearing this suit that he given me. And I said I would do it. So I walked back there. The problem was, in my mind, which I knew, was I never modeled in my life. I've seen women model. I never really seen men model suits and whatnot. And this was all new to me. So as I'm going back there to get ready and whatnot, the guy who was in charge of handling the models and telling them what to do and whatnot, I asked him, I said, sir, this is my first time doing this. I'm just helping someone out. Before my time comes up, can I go and take a look and see how they actually model, how they walk and what they do? He just looked at me and said, none of the models like to have anyone look at them or watch them. Just go and get dressed. Just get ready. So as I went in there and sat down, I'm thinking, what in the world I got myself into? I don't know what to do. I never modeled. So I sat there and it just hit me. What does a model have? Attitude. I said, okay. Now, when I was a kid, I still liked Westerns. John Wayne was my boy before I found out about it, which he isn't anymore. But John Wayne had a little walk. If you ever watch any John Wayne movies, you know he got a little certain walk. I thought I would put that in there because when I was a kid, I could imitate him. I could even do the walk. I had it down pat. I said, this is what I'm going to do. So when I came out there and I walked out there and I had to turn around, holding my suit, coat, and whatnot, I did this little step and I put a little me in it, my little soul in it. And I walked through. But when I did that, it tripped me out. The crowd reacted. I mean, they went wild. They got to clapping and scream. It was crazy. And I went on back there. And a guy who was in charge of the one I asked if I could watch, he looked at me and said, I thought you said you never modeled anymore. At any time. I said, I hadn't. That was my first time. But every time I went out there when it was my time, I would do that. And I got the same reaction. And it was a young man there who was, I guess he was a little nervous. It was new to him. And the guy who was in charge, he noticed it. He said, when you go out there, put a little pizzazz in it like he did. That'll make you feel better, whatever. But, I mean, it was a hit. It went well. I even modeled the suit that the head deacon had given me because that was one of his suits. But it all turned out great. And I was, like I said, blown away. And that was all over. They was clapping and whatnot, after we did our thing and whatnot. But that's what I modeled. I became a model. It was just that one time, a Kramer-type moment. And I did that. And I never forgot it. Head deacon, he thanked me for what I did. I said, hey, I'm just glad to help out. Just one crazy moment in my life that happened some years ago. The church is still great. Eventually, we kind of left. But I will never miss or forget those times. One other time, I come to think about, this is when I was a teenager. I was about 16, 17. Me and a good friend of mine, we were downtown at the Loop, and we were watching a movie. I think it was at the Mac Vickers or the Oriental. We were seeing a movie called Willard. It was a horror movie about rats. It was a crazy movie and whatnot. But as we were watching the movie, into the movie, all of a sudden some people in there got screaming, Muhammad Ali! Muhammad Ali's here! About 3 or 4 rows behind us where we were sitting, Muhammad Ali and a small entourage were in there watching the same movie we were looking at. This was around about 1970, 71 when he was trying to get his belt back, trying to get back in the boxes, doing everything. But he was out there watching the movie. And his people were screaming, calling his name. Some people in the show were saying, y'all be quiet, we want to watch the movie. They wanted to watch the crazy movie. But anyway, when the movie was over and they were letting everybody out, me and my friend, we were standing there and we watched Muhammad Ali walk out. Everybody was crowding around trying to get his autograph. My friend went up to him and he signed an autograph for him. And we watched him as he walked out. He walked out of the theater, went down the street, turned the corner. We kind of a little further back running. It was some teenagers. And we watched him. I believe he got into a limousine with this. They say that small entourage. There wasn't that many people with it. And then they drove off. But I never forgot the time I watched the movie with Muhammad Ali. Yeah. Those are a little few stories. And I may have a few more as I can think of them. But I thought I'd share that with you. I hope you liked it. Hope you enjoyed it. And like I said, we all have them Kramer moments. Seem like I have them all the time. Anyway, thank you. You all take care. Later. Till next time. Bye now.